All right, we are here in your kitchen. Thanks for inviting us into your home. I mean, this is kind of a vulnerable thing to have a dietitian come into your space and do what I nickname a kitchen audit.
Yes.
So a kitchen audit is doing a scan of the kinds of foods that you keep in your fridge, your pantry, in your environment. And this is really important because we as human beings tend to reach for things that are convenient for us. We're lazy by nature. So if we keep healthy, high nutritious foods in our home, we are more likely to consume more of those versus if we keep a bunch of junk food, snacks, crackers, cookies, all of those things, then those things just become more tempting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Cool. And my goal for here today is not to go through your stuff and say, don't eat this, don't eat that. I really think that a person's home should have a plethora of different types of foods, especially because you have a little 3-year-old, right?
Yes.
And so there's going to be some things in there that maybe you're not eating and she's eating, but I want to look at the types of foods that you have to help me get a better idea of how you eat, give you suggestions on things that maybe could be upgraded, and then also point out some things that you have in your home that I've already seen that are perfect and to continue buying and using.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. First thing that I'm eyeing is something I love. And I think this is really a staple that people should keep in their kitchen, especially if you have kids who are reaching for snacks. If it is in the front of your face, you're more likely to go for it versus something that is hidden or tucked away. So a lot of people keep a candy dish or they keep snacks out on their counter. I say don't do that. Might as well just keep a basket of fruit or something that is nutritious, grab and go, and easy for you. You are much more likely, if you're thinking about food, to just go for whatever is right out in front of you. And if it's candy, if it's rolled up bags of chips, if it's little containers full of not so healthy snacks, those are going to be more tempting for you. So if it's just the middle of the day and you need to pick me up, love a fruit basket. I think it's a staple in every kitchen.
Yeah, and we actually have to hide the bananas that would usually come up here because Brinley would eat 5 bananas a day if we would let her. So typically we have to hide them in one of the bins because just like you said, whatever you see is what you want.
Yeah.
So she could settle for like 1 apple a day, but when it comes to bananas, she could just eat them nonstop. So totally on board with that. Definitely agree.
I love it. Big banana girl. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to take a look inside your fridge?
I am, but keep in mind I am a condiment queen, so I have a ton of condiments. No judgment.
Girl likes her flavor. Girl likes her flavor. Awesome. So first thing that I see when we open it up is a lot of green. So that's always a good sign here. I see lots of fruit in your fruit drawer. Easy grab and go things. If fruit requires a lot of preparation, again, we're less likely to go for those healthy things. I also want to let people know that fruit is healthy and that you should not be afraid to eat fruit. I hear a lot of people say, oh, there's too much sugar in fruit. Well, if all you're eating is fruit, then yeah, I guess it's going to be a lot of sugar. If you're depriving yourself of fruit and then finding yourself having a sweet tooth for chocolate or candy later in the night, maybe you should try adding some fruit. I also like to see that you've got pre-prepped, looks like baby food for Brinley or little things ready to go?
So those are actually for like the peppers and the onions to the left. Those are actually for like omelets in the mornings for just like we just add them in with our scrambled eggs.
I love it.
Yes, but then yes, those green beans are for Brinley.
Cool.
She is a green bean girl.
You put green beans in your omelets? No, this is awesome. Again, you make it easy for yourself, and it probably took a little bit of prep work in the beginning to chop all those things up, put them in the containers, but now when you're on the go, you have an easy way to add fiber and veggies to your omelets. I see the eggs there. I think that is awesome. Lots of greens, easy veggies. I think the best way to add a lot of volume to your meals and feel satisfied is to add tons of greens. And I like to see that you have a variety of different vegetables too. If we're eating the same vegetables or cooking them over and over again the same way, it's easy to get burnt out. I'm not saying many things I don't like. I will say there is something about this specific yogurt that we have to be mindful of. So whenever you see something that's light and fit, that is low calorie but tastes really sweet, that should always be a red flag in your head that there might be an ingredient in there that we don't love. And this is really tempting because we see 80 calories per serving. But if we look in the ingredients, we can see that there are artificial sugars added, as well as cane sugar. So that's why it's so sweet. We see something called acesulfame potassium and sucralose. We can actually see from studies that these might increase your cravings for sugar later in the day. All in all to say is there are so many different types of yogurts that you could have. Go with one without artificial sweeteners.
All right.
out of all of these condiments, which ones are your maybe top 3 go-tos, your favorite ones?
Ooh, definitely the ranch.
Okay.
You know me, I'm a ranch girl.
Let's pull out the ranch.
Yes.
Are you from the Midwest?
No.
I'm from the Midwest, and this is like a culture, okay? So ranch, if we're using it in moderation, small servings, not the end of the world, but there are upgrades. There are different types of brands that are now using Greek yogurt as the base for dressings.
Oh.
So you can actually cut the calories in over 3/4, and it still tastes just like ranch. What else?
Next is going to be the honey mustard that my daughter lost the cap of. So we have this little makeshift, but we could not get rid of the goodness.
It works.
So yeah, honey mustard is definitely going to be my second go-to.
If you look at the ingredients of honey mustard, we can see in just 2 itty-bitty teaspoons here, or I'm sorry, 2 itty-bitty tablespoons, 6 grams of added sugar. Okay, well, if you're only using 1 tablespoon, not the end of the world. Right. But the recommendation for total added sugar throughout the day is 21 grams.
Whew.
I would rather spend my recommended added sugars on something else besides honey mustard. So using a Dijon mustard or a different condiment is always going to be more beneficial if you struggle with portion control or want to have your added sugars from something else later in the day.
Right.
One thing that I wanted to point out was soy sauce. So soy sauce we see, has 0 calories, but if we look at the sodium in just 1 tablespoon, guys, 830 milligrams. Wow. That's quite a bit. So if you are somebody who's struggling with hypertension, or if you have high blood pressure, switching to coconut aminos is a great swap because it tastes just like soy sauce, but it has a lot less sodium. Even the low soy sauce, low sodium soy sauce tends to have a lot of sodium, and it just adds up really quickly if you're only using a tablespoon. I don't know about you, but I use way more than a tablespoon. All right, are you ready to look inside your freezer?
Yes, keep in mind this is Brinley's freezer.
Brinley's freezer?
Yes.
Is she eating edamame?
Well, I guess that some part is ours. No, she does not eat those.
I love edamame. I think this is one of the best snacks, and I've never seen them portion controlled like this.
Yes.
So this little pack is a complete snack all on its own. It is full of fiber, it's got protein, it's so satisfying. I think this is a really easy way to add protein to salads, to different stir fries that you're making, or just eat on the go by itself as a snack. You can also buy these roasted, but I love to see this. I think it's a great thing to keep. I see frozen fruit. I love it. You know, one thing that we were talking about earlier was with veggies, and I get a lot of people asking me if frozen fruit and frozen veggies are okay, if they're healthy.
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely yes. So there's 2 ways you can go about that. One, you can buy veggies already pre-frozen, and they are flash frozen at the peak of ripeness, meaning that they are going to have the most nutrition and they're going to taste great. There's nothing to worry about. But also, if you buy a plethora of veggies and you can't eat them fast enough, if you are on the ball and you notice that they're about to go bad in a day or 2, you can put greens, you can put any kind of vegetable in the freezer and just eat it later. So
I didn't know that.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
You don't think about it very much. If you know you're not going to have time to eat it, greens are a really easy thing to keep in the freezer. Throw into different casseroles, stir fries, smoothies, if that's your jam. So don't be afraid to freeze your produce.
Yes, I love it.
Right off the bat, I already see something I love. Can I pull out these bins? Is that okay?
Yes.
This is some of the best bread your money can buy. So when it comes to bread, I know a lot of people are hesitant to try something a bit more grainy and seedy. I love this because just 1 serving slice has 3 grams of fiber. And 3 might not seem like a whole lot to somebody, but when you're a female, we want you to get about 25 grams of fiber per day. So every little gram counts. What do you usually make with this?
Well, the recent kick has been avocado toast.
Yep, yes.
Yes, so that has been
Tons of
our
fiber.
latest obsession, so yes.
Protein wraps, love to see it. Good way to get that protein up in case your overall diet's missing. So easy things, I love it. I love the grains that you're keeping in your home. Protein-packed oatmeal, so easy. I hear a lot of people tell me, oh, I have oatmeal with berries in the morning, super healthy. And I'm like, okay, are you hungry again 2 hours later? And they're like, yeah, actually I am, and I'm craving sugar. I'm like, that is because your breakfast that's just plain oatmeal and fruit, while nutritious, has no protein. This makes it easy. Again, the easier you can make it on yourself, which you're doing, the better. One place that you could improve would be with peanut butter. Is this Brinley's?
No, that's mine.
Okay.
I love peanut butter.
Well, join the club. But the thing about these spreads is that they add sugar. So 2 tablespoons has 2 grams of added sugar, and then they add a bunch of oils in there. Not the most natural thing. If you want to upgrade your peanut butter, go for a natural peanut butter. Sometimes you have to stir it. Those are going to be the best that money can buy. But if you look at the ingredients list, you only want the ingredients to be peanuts and maybe some salt.
What are your thoughts on like the Justin's vanilla almond butter?
Love
like
it.
Something like that. Because it's not as like bland, I would say, as just like peanuts and salt.
There are some peanut butters where they add more sugar in the form of maple syrup or honey. And again, those are just health halos in my opinion. A lot of things that are marketed to be healthy aren't actually as healthy as we think they are. We think just because maple syrup peanut butter is natural that it's not going to act as a sugar in our body, when really they could just be dumping cane sugar in there and it would still be metabolized as a sugar. Tuna is a great way to up your protein. What do you eat these with?
Well, since our episode, avocado and some everything seasoning, sometimes I'll do like onions, peppers, and a little bit of mayo.
Cool.
Oh, okay, that is cool. All right.
Cool. I love to see nuts. What do you add pecans to?
Those are actually from Thanksgiving, so they're pretty old.
So like a pie.
Yeah, right. So like I'm pretty sure that was from like the sweet potato casserole.
A really easy way to add healthy fats or protein would be to crumble some up, throw them into your oatmeal in the morning just to add a little bit more oomph to them. And I like that you bought nuts that don't have any sweetness added. Okay, canned stuff. Some people are really afraid to eat canned things. Don't be. Especially beans. These are really easy things to throw into salads, to throw into meals to boost fiber and protein. One thing I would say is just to make sure that you rinse off beans. You can save up to 75% of the added sodium, which makes a big difference. I think it's important to keep a pantry stocked with convenient, ready-to-go things. That way, you're never in a pinch. All right. Overall, I think your kitchen's looking good, Rachel.
Ooh,
I like to see.
I passed.
Yes,
I passed
you're
on
passing.
it.
No, there was no failing, right? I think you're doing good. It's good. What were your thoughts going through the kitchen?
I think that one thing that we've really talked about is not having like food for like my daughter and then food for us, so like kind of merging the two.
Yeah.
And there still are some things like the chicken nuggets, things that she's going to eat that I'm not going to.
Sure.
Luckily there's no mac and cheese in there, but there's typically always mac and cheese in my pantry. We just must be out right now.
And little upgrades you can make with that is looking for better sources of mac and cheese. So now they've got mac and cheese made from chickpeas, so she's going to get more fiber. She's still going to get the nutrition, the taste, that little kid palate where they only want those simple foods. And you don't even have to tell her it's different. And if you want to throw in veggies in that, I am totally here for that. I think the more vegetables that we can sneak into our kids' diet, the better. It's a better outcome. So let's talk about some goals for our next consult, because we meet again soon for our 3rd visit.
Okay, so I feel like I've come a long way, in terms of like the snacking. That was a huge adjustment for me, just make sure that I'm having snacks ready to go. But when I'm structured Monday through Friday at work, it's very easy because I have them packed, they're prepped, they're ready to go. So really still making sure that I have them prepped and ready to go on the weekends because then I'm less likely to fall off track. That's really still my struggle,
okay.
If I'm being completely honest. The weekends, it's just let's structure it. I'm not up at a certain time. My like meal times are a little off because I wake up a little later. Still waking up earlier, like we talked about, but I'm not waking up at 6 like I am Monday through Friday. It's definitely later. This time change is kicking my hiney. I'm trying to adjust with that too. But I guess just being consistent 7 days a week instead of just the 5. The 5 days are easy.
Think back to our 2nd visit. You had told me, okay, I do this thing every Sunday. I have a meeting with my company, my school, and that was where you were going to integrate some of this meal planning and prepping. What happened with that?
So it sounded great, but if I'm hosting the call, it's not something whereas I thought, okay, I'll put it on and listen as I'm like prepping. And that wasn't something that was a reality, especially because a lot of the times I am the one that's hosting the call, so I have to be extra engaged because I'm facilitating it. So then we push it to afterwards. So it couldn't happen during, but it has to happen after, which means that I have to go shopping before.
Okay.
Because shopping is the big piece too.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to hold you accountable to goal-wise. Finding some ways to ground yourself and extend that meal planning through the weekend, and then getting into that healthy routine and taking personal accountability on Sunday. That way you're anchored for the week, you're good to go, and there aren't going to be any of those excuses that our brain looks for.
I'm here for it.
All right. Killing it.
Yeah.